Welcome back to our channel World of Royals. Welcome to Palace Insider. Today's royal storm is shaking the crown itself. The bloodline files just exploded. Prince William has frozen Archie's royal status after rejecting Prince Harry's DNA proof. The message from Buckingham Palace, dropped at 7 a.m. on February 12, 2026, sent shockwaves across the world. The palace statement, cold yet razor-sharp, confirmed that William officially refused to validate the private DNA report Harry submitted. That report was meant to prove little Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor is biologically Harry's son and eligible to return to the royal household register. But this wasn't simple brotherly doubt. This was a full-on royal blockade. William declared that no child, even one claiming royal descent, would be recognized without a second DNA test done under Crown control. He's demanding forensic-level proof, not just from any lab, but from the monarchy's own secret intelligence unit. The palace is now split right down the middle. It all began when Harry's legal team quietly delivered a 72-page file to Clarence House last week. Inside, a California DNA test confirming Harry's paternity and a sworn affidavit from Meghan Markle detailing her 2018 to 2019 pregnancy. The tension, unbelievable. The evidence Harry's team submitted was intense. Ultrasound scans from a Beverly Hills OB/GYN, Archie's birth certificate, and even a notarized statement from a Portland hospital staff member. Their goal to officially restore Archie and Lilith as recognized royals after years in exile, paving the way for their full return to the royal fold. Harry's made it clear he wants back in the UK, especially now that he's separated from Meghan. But Prince William's response, ice-cold and surgical. Insiders say he instantly reactivated the long-dormant Sovereign Succession Security Council, a secret royal board made up of lawyers, intelligence officers, and record-keepers who investigate any bloodline disputes. Within hours, William's office slammed down a royal freeze on Archie's re-entry, claiming major inconsistencies. The palace later leaked a 6-point internal memo, now dubbed the Bloodline Files. And what's inside is jaw-dropping. Investigators pointed to shocking photo inconsistencies from Meghan's pregnancy, showing drastically different belly sizes on the same date. Royal forensic analysts confirmed the timestamps and ruled out camera angles or clothing tricks. The whispers of a possible moon bump are echoing through palace halls. Again, here's where things get even messier. Unlike the official royal births of William and Catherine's children, Meghan's delivery has zero confirmation from the royal obstetricians. No signatures from Sir Marcus Sell or Dr. Gorban. Even stranger, no hospital discharge papers were ever logged in the royal archives. Then comes the twist. Archie's birth certificate was quietly amended nearly a month later, swapping Rachel Meghan Markle for Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. Meghan's team insists the palace ordered it, but William called the move unprecedented and suspicious, pointing out that Catherine's name was never altered on any of her children's documents, and that first photo of baby Archie at Windsor Castle, experts say it looked too perfect. Lighting analysts confirmed it used studio-grade equipment, and palace insiders described it as more vogue than reality. The event itself was locked off from press photographers back in May 2019, raising even more eyebrows. But the biggest bombshell came from financial investigators. A $500,000 payment traced from a company called LLC to a fertility clinic near the Mexican border known for elite-level surrogacy and airtight secrecy. This happened just 5 days before Meghan's official birth announcement. Even more shocking, MI6-linked cryptologists uncovered encrypted notes hinting at a non-disclosure agreement between the clinic and a mysterious third party. The palace hasn't said a word. Those encrypted notes were flagged as evidence of a hidden gestational deal. And that's when the palace panic really began. William, usually calm but unshakably strict, reportedly told aides, "This isn't a rejection of my brother. It's a firewall to protect the monarchy's integrity." Still, behind closed doors, tension is boiling. A senior source close to the Privy Council says William has officially frozen Harry's children from re-entering the royal registry until a Crown-certified DNA audit is completed in the UK. But Harry's firing back, accusing his brother of weaponizing royal bureaucracy just to stall what he swears is a rightful claim. Meghan's been silent so far. Yet, her lawyers are hinting they'll invoke international human rights law if the palace keeps blocking her children's recognition. The legal storm brewing could blow the lid off everything. Now, insiders fear this feud could spark a massive public review of the Sussexes' 2020 royal exit. from money trails and private contracts to internal memos that never saw daylight. With William rejecting Harry's DNA proof, all eyes are turning west to a California lab, an Oregon lawyer, and a mysteriously deleted email that might tear this royal claim apart. The DNA drama traces straight to Horizontal Gene Diagnostics, a boutique genetics firm tucked away in Santa Barbara, just minutes from Harry and Meghan's Montecito mansion. Harry's legal team swears that in mid-January 2026, a DNA test done there proved with 99.999% certainty that Harry is Archie's biological father. But William's side isn't buying it. Not for a second. Palace insiders point out that the DNA samples were delivered by Meghan's former chief of staff, not through any secure or verified chain of custody. Even worse, Horizon Gene isn't accredited by the UK's Royal College of Pathologists or recognized under the ISO forensic standards for legal testing. That instantly raised red flags for the Sovereign Succession Security Council, which blasted the process as engineered for a result, not a truth. Oversight came from Oregon-based attorney Douglas Hall, known for handling complex international family cases. He not only arranged the test but also filed a petition to the UK Privy Council asking to restore royal protections for Archie and Lilith based on those results. But now Hall himself is in hot water. A leaked internal email from January 22, 2026 obtained by The Times had a chilling subject line. "We need optics, not science." The message allegedly instructed staff to find a partner lab willing to certify pre-analysis validity if Horizon Gene couldn't rush the results by the 26th. The revelation has thrown Harry's entire case into chaos. "We need optics, not science. The palace will only see the paperwork." That chilling line reportedly from attorney Douglas Hall's leaked email has rocked the royal case. He hasn't denied writing it, only claiming it was taken out of context during legal prep, but the damage is done, and the palace isn't buying the excuse. William's office just dropped a new timeline that makes everything look even shadier. According to courier logs and banking records, Harry's DNA sample was flown from Los Angeles to London on January 24. Yet, a second identical sample was also sent to a lab in Zurich. That lab never received payment, meaning the analysis was never done. Investigators say it looks like the Sussex team had a backup plan ready, expecting pushback from UK authorities. Even worse, internal Zurich data marked the sample practice use only with no official chain of custody in place. A senior Home Office source reportedly said, "This doesn't read like a paternity confirmation."
Welcome to Palace Insider. What's happening inside the British monarchy right now is not just a family dispute. It's a full-scale royal crisis. Because something has exploded behind palace walls, something that could redefine who truly belongs to the House of Windsor and who doesn't. The bloodline is being questioned. The evidence is under attack. And 2 royal children are now suspended in uncertainty. Prince William has officially frozen Archie's royal status after rejecting the DNA proof Prince Harry submitted. Yes, rejected. The decision was announced at exactly 7 a.m. on February 12, 2026. A tightly worded Buckingham Palace statement that sent shockwaves around the world. Prince William refused to validate the private DNA report Harry provided. That report was meant to prove one thing, that Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor is Harry's biological son, and therefore fully eligible to return to the royal household register. But the palace didn't accept it. They didn't question it quietly. They blocked it completely. What followed was not a disagreement between brothers. It was a royal lockdown. William declared that no child claiming royal descent will ever be recognized without a second DNA test conducted under direct Crown authority. Not a private lab. Not an international clinic. Not external verification. Only testing controlled, monitored, and certified by the monarchy itself. In simple terms, the Crown will decide what counts as truth. And with that single decision, the palace divided. Quietly. Deeply. Permanently. The confrontation actually began just days earlier. Prince Harry's legal team had quietly delivered a sealed 72-page dossier to Clarence House. Inside was what they believed to be undeniable proof. A California DNA analysis confirming Harry's paternity. A sworn affidavit from Meghan Markle detailing her pregnancy between 2018 and 2019. Medical documentation. Ultrasound scans. Legal declarations. The goal was clear. Restore Archie and Lilibet as fully recognized members of the royal household after years in exile from official royal structures. Sources say Harry pushed hard for this move. He wants stability in the UK again. He wants his children formally acknowledged. He wants the door back into royal legitimacy opened. Recognition of the children was supposed to be the first step. And the evidence package was massive. Ultrasound scans from a Beverly Hills obstetric clinic. Archie's birth certificate. A notarized statement from hospital staff in Portland. Detailed medical timelines. Legal affirmations supporting Meghan's pregnancy and delivery. Everything carefully assembled to make rejection impossible. But instead of approval, the palace reacted with suspicion. Immediate suspicion. According to insiders, Prince William responded within hours. He reactivated a little-known internal authority that had reportedly been silent for years. The Sovereign Succession Security Council. A shadow-level royal oversight body made up of lawyers, intelligence specialists, and hereditary record guardians. Their sole purpose: investigate any threat to royal lineage. And their first move was swift. A total freeze on Archie's re-entry into the royal household register. No recognition. No validation. No restoration. Until further investigation. The reason given: major inconsistencies. And then the leak happened. An internal 6-point memo began circulating among senior palace officials. Staff quickly gave it a name. The Bloodline Files. What investigators claimed to have found inside those files stunned even seasoned royal insiders. Photographic inconsistencies from Meghan's pregnancy. Images taken on the same dates, showing dramatically different abdominal shapes and sizes. Royal forensic imaging specialists examined the metadata. They ruled out lighting. They ruled out camera distortion. They ruled out clothing. Their internal conclusion: the physical variations could not be explained by normal pregnancy changes. And just like that, an old rumor returned. A rumor the palace never publicly addressed, but never fully dismissed either. The so-called moon bump theory. But the concerns didn't stop there. Royal protocol has always required official confirmation of birth from designated royal medical authorities. Every royal birth in recent generations followed that rule. Signed, verified, archived. But investigators claim Meghan's delivery records contain no verified signatures from royal obstetricians. No official certification. No standard royal documentation. No hospital discharge records in palace archives. Nothing. Then came another detail that raised even more alarm. Archie's birth certificate. Records show it was amended nearly a month after initial registration. Meghan's name was changed from Rachel Meghan Markle to Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Her representatives say the palace requested the adjustment. William's office called it unprecedented. They pointed out Catherine's name was never altered on any of her children's birth records. To investigators, the change didn't resolve confusion. It deepened it. Then attention shifted to the first public photo of baby Archie at Windsor Castle. To the world, it looked warm, elegant, perfect. To royal analysts, it looked staged. Lighting experts concluded the image used professional studio-grade illumination, not natural or press lighting. One insider reportedly described it as looking more like a magazine cover than a royal birth presentation. And the press had been restricted from direct access during the reveal, something rarely done in modern royal history. But the most explosive discovery came from financial investigators. A payment, just under $500,000, traced from a company linked to Archwell, to a highly private fertility clinic near the Mexican border. The transfer happened only 5 days before Archie's birth announcement. The clinic is known internationally for elite surrogacy arrangements, protected by strict confidentiality agreements. Encrypted communications reviewed by intelligence analysts suggest a non-disclosure contract may exist involving an unidentified third party. The palace has said nothing publicly. But internally, that discovery changed the entire investigation. From that moment forward, this was no longer treated as a family disagreement. It became a matter of institutional survival. According to sources inside high-level briefings, Prince William told senior aides directly, "This is not a rejection of my brother. This is a firewall to protect the monarchy." Behind closed doors, tension exploded. Privy Council advisors confirmed Harry's children would remain frozen out of the royal registry until a Crown-certified DNA review is completed in the United Kingdom. Harry fired back immediately. He accused the palace of weaponizing royal bureaucracy to block what he calls undeniable biological truth. Meghan has remained silent in public. But her legal team is preparing for escalation. including potential action under international human rights law if recognition continues to be denied. What began as document verification is becoming legal warfare. And inside the palace, some fear something even bigger is coming. A full public re-examination of the Sussex's royal exit in 2020. Financial trails, private agreements, internal records never meant to be seen. Now global attention is turning toward a California genetics lab, an Oregon attorney, and a digital trail that may reveal how this entire DNA test was conducted. Because the test Prince Harry says proves everything is about to be examined like never before. Because now, the entire royal crisis is turning toward one single piece of evidence. The DNA test Prince Harry says proves everything. And according to palace investigators, that test may be the weakest part of his entire case. The genetic report at the center of this storm comes from a boutique laboratory in Santa Barbara, California, a private firm known as Horizon Gene Diagnostics. It's a small, highly specialized facility located just minutes from Harry and Meghan's Montecito residence. Harry's legal team claims that in mid-January 2026, testing conducted there confirmed with 99.999% certainty that Harry is Archie's biological father. On paper, that sounds definitive, but the palace never focused on the result. They focused on the process. And according to royal investigators, the process raised serious red flags. Palace insiders say the DNA samples were not transferred through a secure medical chain of custody. Instead, they were reportedly delivered by Meghan's former chief of staff, not a licensed medical courier, not a forensic officer, and not an accredited collection authority. That alone triggered immediate concern. But the deeper investigators looked, the more problems appeared. Horizon Gene Diagnostics is not accredited by the United Kingdom's Royal College of Pathologists. It is also not certified under ISO forensic standards required for legal paternity verification in high-security institutional cases. To the Sovereign Succession Security Council, that meant one thing. This was not a controlled forensic procedure. It was a private test, arranged privately, handled privately, verified privately. And for the monarchy, that is unacceptable. In an internal review summary, the council reportedly described the testing process as structured for confirmation, not verification. In other words, designed to produce an answer, not prove one. And that was only the beginning. Oversight of the entire testing arrangement was handled by an Oregon-based attorney named Douglas Hall, a lawyer known for complex international family litigation. Hall didn't just supervise the process. He organized the lab selection, coordinated the testing schedule, and personally filed a petition with the UK Privy Council requesting that Archie and Lilibet's royal protections be restored based on the DNA findings. For a moment, it seemed like the legal strategy was moving forward. Then a leak changed everything. On January 22, 2026, just days before the results were finalized, an internal email surfaced. Investigators say it was obtained from within Hall's own legal correspondence. The subject line read, "We need optics, not science." According to reports, the message instructed staff to identify a secondary partner lab that would be willing to certify pre-analysis validity if Horizon Gene could not deliver results quickly enough. In simple terms, if the science slowed things down, the paperwork would move ahead anyway. The email spread through royal intelligence channels like wildfire. When it reached palace investigators, the reaction was immediate. Everything Harry's team had submitted, every document, every claim, every timeline, was suddenly viewed under suspicion. Douglas Hall did not deny writing the email. He later stated that the message was taken out of context during legal preparation. But inside the palace, the damage was irreversible. And then another detail surfaced, one that made the timeline look even more troubling. Courier logs and international transport records show that Harry's DNA sample was flown from Los Angeles to London on January 24th. But investigators discovered something else. An identical sample was sent to a laboratory in Zurich. That second lab never received payment. No analysis was performed. The sample was labeled practice use only. No official chain of custody. No registered testing procedure. No certified handling record. To royal investigators, it looked like contingency planning. A backup test prepared in advance, as if Harry's team expected their primary evidence to be challenged. One senior Home Office source reportedly said, "This does not read like a straightforward paternity confirmation. It reads like the final act of a carefully managed narrative. And when palace officials stepped back and looked at the full picture, the pattern became impossible to ignore. A Hollywood-adjacent genetics lab, a foreign legal coordinator, multiple sample routes, accelerated legal filings, carefully timed media messaging from pro-Sussex outlets, all unfolding while the palace remained publicly silent. But behind that silence, investigation intensified. And then intelligence services became directly involved. Because if Horizon Gene Diagnostics cast the first shadow, MI6 closed the curtain. Sources close to the Sovereign Succession Security Council confirm that a classified intelligence file has now been reactivated. Its codename Sigma. Its subject classification: disruption of lineal continuity, Sussex asset irregularities, 2019 to 2023. And at the center of that intelligence file is a financial transfer that investigators say cannot be ignored. On May 1, 2019, just 5 days before Archie's birth was publicly announced, a wire transfer of $499,900 was sent from an Archwell-linked financial account to a private reproductive medical center near Tijuana, Mexico. The clinic's name remains officially redacted, but investigators describe it as a facility known internationally for ultra-discreet surrogacy arrangements, serving elite clients who require complete confidentiality and legally binding non-disclosure structures. According to intelligence analysts, the transaction did not move directly. It was routed through 2 separate shell companies, one registered in Delaware, another in the Cayman Islands, before reaching a numbered account connected to an entity identified as Forza Biomed SA. That financial pathway triggered immediate escalation, because to royal investigators, this was no longer administrative irregularity. It was covert financial structuring tied to reproductive services, occurring days before a royal birth announcement. An intelligence source familiar with the analysis reportedly stated, "This was not a prenatal medical payment. This was consistent with a gestational service contract." And with that conclusion, an old theory returned with force: the moon bump claim. Years earlier, public speculation suggested Meghan may have used a prosthetic pregnancy form. At the time, mainstream coverage dismissed the idea entirely. But inside palace intelligence units, visual analysis never stopped. And now, according to sources, archived imagery is being re-examined using advanced reconstruction modeling. One particular sequence from March 5, 2019 has drawn intense scrutiny. Meghan appeared at 2 separate London events just hours apart, one at King's College, another at a charity roundtable. In the first appearance, her pregnancy profile appeared low, full, and structurally firm. Hours later, analysts say the shape appeared smaller, higher, and visibly creased beneath outer garments. 3-dimensional depth mapping commissioned by palace forensic specialists concluded that organic pregnancy mass could not shift in structure and volume in that time frame. And then a former royal staff member came forward privately. Speaking anonymously, the individual described conditions inside Frogmore Cottage's maternity suite following the reported birth. According to that account, the room showed no signs of recent medical use. No delivery equipment. No postnatal supplies. No recovery arrangements. The description was simple. It felt staged. Inside Buckingham Palace, emergency meetings followed. Because if even part of this intelligence is accurate, the implications extend far beyond one birth. Under royal constitutional tradition, any child entering the royal household register must have a fully documented and verifiable bloodline, confirmed through approved royal medical observation and recorded through official palace procedures. At this moment, investigators say that standard has not been satisfied, and the stakes are no longer personal. They're structural, because if lineage verification fails, royal legitimacy itself becomes vulnerable. And that is a risk the crown cannot allow. Because by now, this is no longer just an investigation. It's a constitutional crisis unfolding in real time. Inside Buckingham Palace, urgent late-night meetings are taking place behind closed doors. Senior royals, legal advisors, and constitutional experts are gathering to address a single question, one that has not been asked this seriously in modern royal history. What happens if a royal bloodline cannot be verified? According to insiders, Prince William is no longer treating this as a private family matter. He is treating it as a matter of institutional survival. And now, a formal order has changed everything. At 8:47 p.m. on February 11, 2026, just hours before the public announcement rejecting Harry's DNA report, a velvet-bound dossier labeled Lineage 1, urgent was hand-delivered from Buckingham Palace to the office of the Royal Register. What was inside that file has never been seen publicly, but sources say it contained a directive signed personally by Prince William, acting under authority granted through the Crown Succession Security Council. And the order was historic. Immediate lockdown of the Royal Household Register. No changes. No additions. No validations. Any entry connected to Archie or Lilibet, frozen until further notice. In simple terms, their place in the monarchy has been suspended indefinitely. For over a century, the Royal Household Register has been treated as a sealed record of lineage legitimacy, a protected archive that confirms who officially belongs within the royal structure. Never in modern royal history has an entry been frozen after submission. Until now. According to palace historians, Prince William invoked Clause 6 of the Sovereign Child Declaration Act, a rarely referenced legal authority dating back to 1837. The clause allows the direct heir to the throne to suspend recognition of lineage claims whenever ambiguity, disruption, or forensic dispute threatens hereditary continuity. One former royal archivist reportedly described it this way. It is the nuclear option of lineage control, and it has not been used in over 100 years. The impact was immediate and absolute. Palace IT administrators manually removed Archie and Lilibet's digital profiles from the active royal registry. Internal systems flagged all references for restricted review only. Their titles, inheritance pathways, and ceremonial recognition placed in suspension. Operationally erased, pending investigation. But as the monarchy tightened control, another figure quietly re-entered the picture. King Charles III. According to high-level palace sources, a sealed private memorandum written by Charles in December 2025 has now been reopened at William's request. The memo was drafted just weeks before Charles underwent a major health evaluation, and its subject line has reportedly been verified. Sussex children and the threshold of trust. The contents remain classified, but insiders confirm the memo was written after Charles received a confidential briefing from Princess and a briefing that reportedly outlined timeline inconsistencies surrounding Archie's birth. Sources say the document contains guidance on how the Crown should respond if forensic irregularities surrounding lineage were ever confirmed. In other words, contingency planning. Some palace aides believe Charles had already considered the possibility that hereditary recognition might one day need to be denied. One source familiar with the memo reportedly described Charles's position as deeply conflicted. As a grandfather, he felt love. As a sovereign, he felt duty. In the end, he deferred to William's judgment. And just as the palace consolidated authority, Meghan's legal team launched a direct counterattack. On the morning of February 12th at 8 a.m., just 1 hour after the palace's public statement, her lawyers filed a preemptive motion in the UK High Court. The accusation was explosive. They claimed Prince William and the Privy Council were staging what they described as a custodial coup disguised as a lineage review. The filing argues that Archie and Lilibet, as dual U.S. citizens, are protected under international family law. It further claims the Royal Household Register is not a civil authority, and therefore has no legal power to define identity, legitimacy, or parental recognition. According to the motion, the palace is attempting what Meghan's lawyers call institutional erasure, removing the children from recognition purely through royal decree. Supporting documents were included. Photographs from Archie's birthday celebrations in Montecito, personal statements from family associates, and a sworn letter from Tyler Perry affirming that Meghan carried, delivered, and raised both children as any mother would. Publicly, the palace has responded with silence. But insiders say that silence is strategic. Behind the scenes, divisions within the royal family are becoming impossible to ignore. Princess Anne is reportedly fully aligned with William's hardline position, demanding an independent royal medical tribunal to settle the matter conclusively. Prince Edward, according to sources, has privately expressed concern that the monarchy cannot risk being blindsided by hidden facts again. Queen Camilla has made no public statement, but one palace aide claims she was overheard saying, "The crown must stand taller than its scandal." Meanwhile, the personal relationship between the brothers has collapsed entirely. Sources close to the family describe a recent phone call between William and Harry as brief, tense, and final. Trust, they say, is gone. But William's most decisive move was still ahead. He has now formally launched a new investigative authority, one that until recently existed only on paper. The Royal Commission for Lineal Ethics and Continuity. Activated February 12, 2026. Its mandate is sweeping. Examine whether Archie and Lilibet meet the legal, moral, and ceremonial standards required for royal standing. Until that determination is made, William has ordered the College of Arms to suspend all ceremonial use of royal titles connected to the children. No prince, no princess, no official styling of any kind. The freeze is total. The palace statement was blunt. The styling of prince or princess shall be withheld as a matter of institutional integrity. But the consequences do not stop with titles. Attention has now shifted to Princess Diana's estate. Her 1996 will states that her personal fortune, valued at more than £22 million, is to be divided between her sons and their legitimate descendants. With Archie and Lilibet's legitimacy now under review, their inheritance eligibility is being questioned. Sources confirm Prince William has quietly consulted trustees regarding the possibility of placing the Sussex children's share into escrow, pending the Commission's final ruling. If confirmed, their inheritance could be frozen indefinitely. Inside Harry's circle, the emotional impact is reportedly devastating. One associate claims Harry described the situation as a betrayal not just of me, but of my mother. But palace legal advisors insist the opposite. They argue that protecting Diana's legacy requires absolute certainty. One senior legal figure reportedly stated, "This is not sentiment. This is fiduciary responsibility." And now, the Royal Commission is fully operational. 7 members, 2 senior ethics lords, a retired Privy Council judge, the Royal Archivist General, an Oxford constitutional historian, the Archbishop of Canterbury's legal envoy, and one unnamed former intelligence officer. Their task goes beyond DNA. They are examining trust documentation, timelines, financial records, and historical precedent. According to royal historian Fiona Travers, this is not simply about biology. It is about whether the monarchy can function in an age where reality itself can be manufactured. And the Commission is demanding everything. Every version of birth documentation, travel records from the year before both births, security footage, financial disclosures, medical correspondence. Nothing is being excluded. Because if the Commission concludes that royal succession standards were not met, the consequences will be permanent. Removal from the royal register, erasure of title claims, exclusion from state ceremonies, inheritance rights suspended. Even Prince Harry's own standing could face review if investigators determine lineage claims were knowingly misrepresented. The monarchy has survived scandals before. Exile, abdication, public controversy. But historians say a falsified bloodline would be something entirely different. A structural rupture. And now the world is watching. Public opinion is already splitting. Polls show strong support for investigation, but growing sympathy for Harry's position as well. Online, the debate is relentless. Truth versus tradition. Family versus institution. Emotion versus law. And somewhere inside Buckingham Palace, the Royal Commission is moving toward its final decision. Inside Buckingham Palace, the waiting is almost over. The Royal Commission for Lineal Ethics and Continuity has now entered its final stage of deliberation. Weeks of investigation, months of evidence review, years of unanswered questions, all narrowing toward a single decision. As of February 13, 2026, sources confirm that only 3 senior figures have full access to the completed report: Prince William, Princess Anne, and the Lord Chancellor. Everyone else, including most of the royal household, is waiting. Because the question inside that sealed document is as simple as it is explosive. Do Archie and Lilibet truly belong to the House of Windsor? The ruling remains classified, but the emotional shockwaves are already spreading through the palace and far beyond it. After weeks of silence, Meghan Markle is preparing to speak publicly. Sources say a recorded interview has already been filmed at her Montecito estate, just 2 nights ago. The release is expected within hours of the Commission's verdict. And according to those familiar with the footage, it will be deeply personal. She reportedly speaks directly about her pregnancies, her experience as a mother, and what she describes as an institutional campaign to erase her children's identity. One line from the interview is already circulating among media insiders. "I carried my children. I gave birth to them. Now they're being erased. This is not about lineage, this is about power. The interview is not being released through Netflix, not through Spotify, not through traditional royal media channels. Instead, it will premiere across independent digital platforms, YouTube, social media, and global broadcasters simultaneously. A direct message to the world, without palace mediation. Inside Buckingham Palace, officials are preparing for impact, because Prince William is preparing to speak as well. Sources confirm that a formal counterstatement has already been drafted. Its title, On the Matter of Lineage and Constitutional Continuity. The statement will be released within 24 hours of the Commission's ruling. And for the first time, King Charles himself has approved the final language in advance. According to palace sources, the statement will confirm 3 things. The Commission's verdict, the official status of Archie and Lilibet in the Royal Register, and the monarchy's permanent position on heirs born outside verified royal observation. This will not be a temporary decision. It will define royal succession rules moving forward. Insiders say William's tone in the statement is measured, but resolute. One passage reportedly reads, "This decision is not made with malice, but with duty. I would rather bear public backlash than allow uncertainty to weaken the foundation of the crown." The monarchy is preparing to speak with finality. But just as the palace steadies itself, a new development has changed the atmosphere entirely. A leaked Heathrow Airport manifest, dated February 14, 2026, confirms the arrival of a private jet from the United States. The listed passengers, Henry Mountbatten Windsor, and 2 unnamed minors. No Meghan, no press delegation, no public notice. Harry has reportedly returned to the United Kingdom with his children. Alone. Inside royal circles, speculation is immediate and intense. Some believe it is a last emotional appeal, a father bringing his children directly to the monarchy that is deciding their future. Others believe it is strategic, a physical presence at the center of the decision, impossible to ignore. Either way, the timing is extraordinary. The children whose legitimacy is under review, now on British soil, as the verdict is finalized. Across the world, attention is locked on Buckingham Palace. Will the Royal Commission restore Archie and Lilibet's place within the monarchy? Or will their names be permanently removed from royal history? 2 brothers, 2 futures, 1 irreversible decision. And at the heart of it all, a question that has never felt more urgent. Is royalty defined by birth or by the authority of the crown? The answer is coming. And when it arrives, nothing inside the monarchy will ever be the same again. Thank you for watching Palace Insider. Stay with us for continuing updates as this historic royal decision unfolds.